Welcome. Welcome to the presentation of the Esch2022 projects of the University of Luxembourg. My name is Constanze Metzke and I lead you through the program. And now it is my honor to give the floor to our rector, Stefan Palage, for the welcome.
Bonjour, bonjour. Je ne sais pas moi l'artiste, il ne faut pas m'applaudir. I'm no artist, you shouldn't applaud me. I want to start in French, in fact, because I have to tell you a story. The story was told to me by a German, but in a superb French a few years ago, and that German you all know. His name is Wim Wenders. He was a guest of my university in Montreal. We gave him a honoris causa diploma a few years ago. And the story is perfectly fit for the current events we are living through. So he essentially said the following. Il est né en fait dans une ville allemande détruite. Sa ville, il est né juste à la fin de la guerre en 1944 ou peut-être en 1945. La ville était détruite et sa maison était détruite. Les parents vivaient dans un sous-sol avec une petite lucarne qui donnait un peu de lumière tous les jours. L'environnement était sombre, pas d'arbres, pas de fleurs, absolument rien, un vide, un paysage presque lunaire. Et dans la maison, il y avait une chose qui rappelait ou qui lui donnait en tout cas une fenêtre sur autre chose. C'était une œuvre de Van Gogh, un poster. Un poster de Van Gogh, c'était en fait le soleil de Van Gogh, les fleurs, les tournesols de Van Gogh. Et un jour, il a dit à son père, « Papa, la beauté existe. Un jour, je veux aller là. » Je vous raconte cette histoire parce qu'en fait, c'est le début de son itinéraire vers le cinéma. Il s'est inscrit aux Beaux-Arts à Paris. Il gelait trop dans sa petite chambre de bonne et il allait passer ses journées pour se réchauffer à la cinémathèque. Et c'est là qu'il a fait son éducation du cinéma et qu'il est devenu cinéaste. Je vous dis ça aussi parce que la beauté, la culture chasse les horreurs de la guerre. Et quelque part, c'était la seule fenêtre qu'il avait, enfant, pour découvrir un monde sans guerre. La culture est une arme. It's a beautiful weapon. It's a weapon against the follies of mankind. Today, we laid flowers by the Peace Pole on our campus as a sign of solidarity with Ukraine. We said simple words of peace. We said that today we were all Ukrainians. We are a community in this university with a lot of nationalities. We have many Ukrainians, many Russians, many of all nationalities that you can observe in the globe. And we should feel at in this particular moment very strongly united. Wherever we come from, it is really important that the university stand together in front of adversity. And let us talk about culture, because culture is one of the elements that makes us human. It's probably the most important element to define what is a human being. As you have seen, I'm not at all following my speech, but that's fine, I think. What I want to add is that we are right in the middle of the European Capital City of Culture of 2022. We are a neighborhood of Esch, a neighborhood of Bellevaux. We are very proud to be sharing this moment with the organizers of Esch2022. They did a superb job inaugurating and preparing this year of festivities. We are a university. A university does a lot of things, but it certainly is a place of creativity. Creativity in research, creativity in all dimensions. Research is not very far from the arts, as you will see and probably you know already. Clearly, Esch2022 is featuring a remix of culture. It wants to celebrate the diversity of cultures in Europe. Essentially, I would say that the campus in Belval has all the nationalities of Europe represented somehow. And this place will be center stage in the events of the year. I strongly believe that culture is important for us all, that a university like ours, that is probably one of the most international universities in the world. We are regularly ranked #1 or #2. This year we are #3 in the world in terms of international outlook. Diversity is really part of our DNA. Diversity of nationalities, diversity of cultures. I should probably not talk too much more, but I want to tell you a little bit about what you will discover today. You will discover projects by university members of the university community that will be important elements of the program of Esch2022. You can, for example, discover the concept of recycling through a small house completely built with second-hand products. The Department of Geography and Spatial Planning has developed this project that is called Petit Maison, with architects and engineers to show what circularity is all about. Researchers in geography and spatial planning also organize a theater play and an exhibition on our region. It is called Remix Place. The project invites you to get to know the people of the Alsace-Belval cross-border area, or C2DH, or Center for Contemporary and Digital History, tells an untold story, that of the Colonia Luxembourgaise in the Brazilian jungle. You will be taken on a journey to discover the amazing story of these very special Luxembourgers. Our engineers offer you masterclasses, boot camps, and workshops on traditional music and folkloric arts. You will exchange with musicians and belong, the name of the project, you will belong to a world music festival. The Department of Computer Science connects science and industrial heritage in a pavilion. You can experiment artificial intelligence in this very interactive initiative called AI and the Arts. Another project is called Sound of Data. It is realized with the help of our scientists, and you can experience live how data is transformed to sound and possibly to music. Dear all, our contribution to Esch2022 is an invitation to discover the creativity of our researchers. I will not say more. I will just say how proud I am to be the rector of this university that is so creative at this very special moment and that responds with amazing contributions to the rendezvous of the European capital city of culture. I will also say one word of welcome to Anouk Wies, who just joined the university a few days ago, on the 1st of March. She will lead Espace Culture at the university for the future, and we're very proud to have her with us. Now, I will leave the floor to Françoise Pose from Esch2022. Thank you, François.
Thank you, Stéphane. Yes, so it's Esch2022, and we are European Capital of Culture on a territory here in the south of Luxembourg and a little bit of France. There are 19 municipalities, 11 on the side of the Luxembourgish, on the Luxembourgish side, 8 on the French side, and we share the title with 2 other cities in Europe, so in Kaunas in Lithuania and Novi Sad in Serbia. Our motto is Remix Culture, and yes, culture, I think, is today more important than ever. Culture, of course, with all the disciplines of the arts, but also, as you said, Stefan, culture and what defines us as human beings, with our histories, with our geographical anchoring, with all the little details that constitute our individual and our collective cultural memory. So a capital of culture is, of course, something that needs quite a while to prepare. We got the title in 2017. Active preparation started in 2019, and today we have about 160 projects with more than 2,000 events until February 2023. And last Saturday, there was the big Remix opening, so we officially launched the Capital of Culture with an extraordinary light show for those who have been present in the campus on Belleval and in Esch Center and here. But also on Saturday, there was the opening of 2 new venues, or let's say 1 new venue and 1 venue that had been hosting cultural events before. It is the Mas Noir and the Meulerei, and we had the opening of 2 exhibitions, Remixing Industrial Pasts, which Stefan Krebs will tell us about later, and then also linked to what you have been saying, Stefan, Hacking Identity, Dancing Diversity by the ZKM, Center for Arts and Media in Karlsruhe, talking about identity in the 21st century through art at the intersection of advanced technologies and science. And it is, of course, about diversity, the diversity that we have on the campus here. And so it is a very poignant exhibition for all the people living here, the students, but also the engineers, the people working in banks, so everyone at home in the campus. It's also about hacking and about questioning old systems and fixed systems and reinventing our identities through diversity. So it is these 2 exhibitions that truly mark the beginning of the programming of Esch2022, and that also give a clear idea of the direction we wanted to give to this program. The exploration of the past of the region, its history and transformations, and the discussion of our present and opening perspectives toward the future. And Belleval, between the remnants of the industrial past and the city of science and innovation turned towards the future, is the ideal place to talk about these subjects. In the sense, we are very pleased to be able to count, as part of the program of Esch2022, the whole series of projects carried out by various departments of the university. And it is here at the university, in fact, that the future of the region or the country is thought about, is designed with all the creative minds that are at home here in the university. It is, of course, an environment that interests us a lot, and we hope to be able to convey also arts and culture, that dimension on the campus, and to enrich the cultural offer of Belval. So this offer consists, as already mentioned, of temporary exhibitions at the Mas Noire and the Meulerei, and they will have varying thematic axes all along the year. So first we have identity with the motto "Remix Yourself" until mid-May. Then there will be sustainable development, nature and ecology from June to September. We will talk about the role of art in our contemporary society in autumn, and then we will have an outlook for Europe in winter on the perspectives of Europe, so winter until February 23. The Mas Noire will also host an escape room around the subject of sustainable development to raise awareness in an engaging way to a wide audience on how to change their habits in consuming. So throughout the year, the Meulerei will offer interactive exhibitions produced in collaborations with major international institutions, starting, as I said today, with the ZKM. Work is also located at the entrance of the Learning Center, and because it was important to us to connect the spaces in Belval, and I would like to take this opportunity here to thank Mrs. Pausch very warm-heartedly for welcoming us with such big enthusiasm. So after ZKM, HEK Haus der elektronischen Künste in Basel will follow with a show offering a dialogue with nature, while Ars Electronica will take us on a journey onto new shores in autumn. So however, there will not be only visual arts in Belval. We will have concerts in collaboration with Rock Hall, New Frontiers on the Socle C, which is just next door here, will present, for example, a festival of urban music and street art. 2022 young musicians from all over Europe will also meet on the campus for the European Youth Music Festival in a great intercultural exchange. There will be, as part of Les Nuits de la Culture, one night of culture in April in Belval. There will be open-air concerts at the foot of the blast furnaces and a contemporary dance festival at the tapping platform of Blast Furnace A in the summer. So, and not to mention all the activities and workshops that will take place at the SKIP, which is which Carol knows a lot about, so a building in the shape of a yellow wave. It will be the place for public outreach, for activities for young people and children, and there we will have many, many workshops and activities, from concerts or opportunities for children to learn how to make electronic music on vegetables, or also how to engage in hacking ourselves and discussing about identity. So many, many things are going to happen on the side of Belval, and of course, outside Belval, there is this whole territory to discover, from Kerjing-Bacharach to Bettembourg, from Rumelange to Till, cross-border. That's the one of the main themes of our Capital of Culture year. So there is plenty of choice. Esch2022 is a participatory project, so we would like to invite all of you to take part in all the activities, to go out and to discover, to see on campus where all the multiple spaces are. We're still working a little bit on signage, so we're getting there so that we actually can be found. So for the rest, you can find information about the program on our website. We also have a weekly newsletter. We have information in a printed gazette where you can, to which you can subscribe. Do not hesitate, come to see us, and in any case, I wish you a great 2022 with lots of culture everywhere. Thank you.
Thank you, Françoise Pose, about the information on this very special year. And now it's my pleasure to open the pitch session, a pitch session for each of the 6 projects. And without any further introduction, I will give the first pitch to Christoph Schommer for AI and Art. Christoph, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. So good afternoon to everyone. I remember very well the master's course on machine learning, which I conducted 2 years ago with about 25 enthusiastic students. In the course, we did several projects, including one that involved mixing images of the university and an artistic painting style with the help of deep learning. The result was a 2020 calendar, which featured 12 images of the university in the style of Van Gogh, among others. The past year has already been marked by many activities that also led to many discussions with colleagues from the university. Luxembourg Institute of Science and Technology, students, artists, citizens. We have represented the topic of AI and art intensively at conferences held in Luxembourg, such as the AI and the Future of Arts, the Benelux AI conference BNIC, and also recently at the event Humanities and the Rise of AI at the World Expo in Dubai. We are in close contact with the Esch2022 responsibles, with local artists, with schools, with the Luxembourg Science Center, the university's Science Teams Lab, and many others. The aim of our AI and Art Pavilion is to create a place of encounter and to maintain it sustainably, where artists, scientists, and also the society can participate in topics on this subject. In the sections Magneto, Cornerstones, Singularity, AI, Habitable, we will continue the activities started in 2021, connected with the aim to further bring together the parties involved. In concrete terms, this means we organize the AIFA, Artificial Intelligence for the Arts conference again this year. We offer courses on AI for artists, and demonstrations of our projects, artworks, etc. will continue. The Magneto section consists of various events that aim to inform and engage the audience in discussions about the role of artificial intelligence. The events are aimed at pupils, students, a general audience, and a professional audience. The Cornerstones offer visitors playful and interactive initiatives to experiment, discover, and rethink own beliefs. In AI Habitable Singularity, we invite visitors to our AI and Art Pavilion to engage in a dialogue with the artists and scientists and to explore their own relationship with AI. The Ai Photobooth is the continuation of the project I mentioned before, and it is about applying learned painting styles and to combine these with user photos. In addition, we use Qt, our Qt robot. Qt interacts with the user in English language. The Deus ex Machina project deals with the complex topic of religion. For this purpose, some chatbots were created with which the user can talk about religious topics and enter into a dialogue. The aim of the project is to deal with the complex topic both philosophically and entertainingly. By creating different chatbot identities based on the different religious scriptures, we engage our audience with open questions about ethics, morality, and religion. The project 1867 Steft concerns an avatar that embodies a 10-year-old street boy. Steft is a self-playing AI character for a historical role-playing game. The story takes place in Luxembourg, 1867. Steph is constantly learning from what he experiences. The player's task is to give Steph instructions and interact with him also by communicating with other characters in the game. In the AI avatar dancer, we have designed a dancing avatar that can dance based on input music. The avatar also interacts with visitors. In the interactive mirror project, we show an experimental interactive art installation. Here, the viewer's image and the scenery behind is changed. Viewers are made to question versions of themselves and the reality that surrounds them. The Einstein black hole project offers a virtual experience with a black hole through a black hole sculpture. The sculpture interacts with the user through light and sound effects via multiple sensors to give the feeling of being pulled into a black hole. The project is a virtual reality simulation. The Thalamus Project uses an artificial neural network to visualize the lyrics of the song. A music video is created with a series of original images generated and interpolated by the artificial intelligence and sequenced along the audio file. The DAL-E-Made project takes original approaches of Marcel Duchamp, a French painter, sculptor, chess player, writer, whose work is associated with Cubism, Dada, conceptual art. With modern machine learning, we generate images of mysterious objects that resemble 20th century industrial design. In Plantasmagoria project, we collect images of nature and create abstract videos of different landscapes. Visitors can watch these videos while listening to music. They can play with different objects and instruments and add musical notes to the main melody. Also, the project is to define an art installation that creates an audio-visual experience of different eras. The audience can interact with the installation by choosing between the artistic eras, Renaissance, Baroque, Expressionism, Futurism. Finally, the music pieces created by the visitors and the AI technologies can be integrated as a soundtrack into the poetic documentary film Purification. Based on the visitors' hand movements and facial emotions, a piece of music is generated that combines the short film and their own music. It is really fantastic that the topic of artificial intelligence and art has found so much resonance in the last 2 years. We are working on establishing what we hope will be sustainable basis for this direction in Esch2022 and beyond. On behalf of all the project participants in our AI and Arts Pavilion contribution, we would like to thank you very much for this invitation. Visit us at the Computational Creativity Hub Campus Belval. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I now give the floor to Dominique Santana on Colonia Luxemburghesa. And if you have questions on this pitch or another pitch, after the pitch session, you have the chance to ask them and we will answer all your questions. Dominique, you have the floor. No, you can do it on there.
Oh. Okay, thank you. Well, thank you very much for this opportunity to be here and talk about the project today. It all started a few years ago, to be precise, a bit more than 5 years ago, when I was living in Brazil and decided to drive into the interior of the state of Minas Gerais in the southeast of Brazil, the Brazilian red soil. And I discovered the tropical remix of the Minette. That was really amazing, an amazing discovery for me as a Luxembourg-born resident of the Minette with Brazilian roots and historian. I was really astonished by the fact that I had to do all these 10,000 kilometers to find out that we had a shared past, industrial past, because these industrialists, engineers, technicians, and also foremen and workers who were working at the Arbeit plants here in Luxembourg and around the border, because it's really a transnational migration history. They were sent to Brazil 100 years ago to develop the Brazilian steel industry with Arbeit's Brazilian subsidiary called a Companhia Siderúrgica Belgo-Mineira. Ironically, this encounter and actually personal discovery journey of my Brazilian roots brought me back to Luxembourg, where I started a PhD research at the Luxembourg Center for Contemporary and Digital History with the support of the FNR. And this research, this PhD research on steel freight migration history from Luxembourg to Brazil has evolved into a transmedia documentary project in collaboration with Zamza Film and the CNA, with the support of the Film Fund, the Luxembourg Film Fund, and Esch2022. I'm very honored to be here presenting this project, and we had the opportunity to launch, to pre-launch the digital and physical platforms in Brazil, and I just came back yesterday, and I will quickly explain what the project is about. So transmedia storytelling means that the stories are told across different platforms. In this case, with Colônia Luxemburguesa, the histories of this Luxembourgish colony, they unfold across different digital and physical platforms, and they are all interconnected. Here you are seeing the website, a screenshot of the website, www.colonia.lu, and we will launch the project tomorrow. I'm very honored to do this tomorrow, and this digital platform contains interactive documentary. It's in fact a mixture between a documentary and a video game, which means that you navigate, actually as a user, you are asked to navigate across the different videos, the films, and you follow questions, because history is about questioning, is about asking questions, and that's how you discover the different angles of this multifaceted Luxembourgish colony in Brazil. Besides the interactive documentary, there will also be an interactive map of the city of Jean Molevade, which is really the town, the industrial town that the Luxembourgish colony created constructed from scratch, and some micro-histories of these members of the Luxembourgish colony. I will show you quickly a 30-second teaser that we launched last year together with the Call for Participation. It's actually a participatory transmedia project, and let's see if it works. Invited the communities from Luxembourg and Brazil to contribute by sharing their stories, and it's been a year, exactly 1 year, and we have received many contributions from both sides. It has been a very exciting experience, and it's only the beginning, because as you see here, we also have a physical platform called Lasso. Lasso is a wordplay. If we remove the L, the lasso, meaning tie in Luxembourg, in Portuguese, in Brazilian Portuguese, we have aço. So without the I, we have aço, laços de aço, steel ties, liens d'acier, and that's exactly what this physical participatory kiosk called Lasso is about. We have two lassos, one in Brazil and one in Luxembourg. You may have seen it if you've been at the Place de l'Académie during the last weeks. There we have the Luxembourgish lasso, and we also have a Brazilian lasso, which we inaugurated last week on Saturday in synergy with the opening of Esch2022, together with the pre-launch of the pre-release of the film. So here you see we have really transformed 2 containers. They are made of steel, literally. And we have an exhibition space, an interactive discovery space where the visitors can interact and discover the shared heritage with Brazil. And we also have a cabin. I don't know if you can see here on the bottom right. We have an original cabin that we received from ArcelorMittal, and we transformed it into a digitization cabin for crowdsourcing of to crowdsource testimonies and archive material of all sorts. We also have a bar. You cannot see it on the pictures, but there will also be a lasso bar where the Luxembourgers can discover the Brazilian culinary culture as well, and vice versa, also the same in Brazil. I will also show you here some impressions of our opening in Belo Horizonte, which took place on the 26th of February. And the lasso in Brazil will also be inaugurated in João Molevade, where it will remain for the rest of the cultural year for the communities of Luxembourg, the Minet region, and Minas Gerais to co-create our shared heritage and shared cultural, industrial, and social heritage between Luxembourg and Brazil together. So I kindly invite you to maybe if you have time, join us tomorrow evening. There are a few last places left, and we have the honor to launch the project in presence of the Grand Duke tomorrow at 6 p.m. And if not, I invite you to watch the web documentary on colonia.lu, which will be available to everyone as from tomorrow evening worldwide. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dominique. Now I give the floor to Carole Schmidt for the next pitch on Petit Maison.
Thank you so much for giving us the floor today. I mean, I feel also very much honored, and I'm speaking also on behalf of our team, and in particular of my associate, which is Tagos Gioca from Romania. He's a student, ex-student actually at the university of the first generation in our master in architecture, and he helps a lot. So even though I don't like him so much, I really need to refer to Le Corbusier. I must so, you know, I don't like him personally. I mean, I didn't meet him in person, but I think he was really, really nasty, in particular with women, you know, women he lived with or worked with, but, you know, in this case, 100 years ago, so exactly 100 years ago, he was designing Petit Maison. He designed a house for his parents on Lac Le Mans in Switzerland. And so I have to also quote in French, so I'm quoting a text which I believe is quite interesting. He said at the time, on a procédé contrairement aux usages, on a établi le plan rigoureux de la maison, fonctionnel, répondant exactement au programme, véritable petite machine à habiter. Puis, le plan en poche en est allé chercher le terrain qui pourrait convenir. Cette méthode comporte plus de bon sens qu'il n'y paraît au premier abord. Machine à habiter. Chaque élément est affecté d'un certain nombre de mètres carrés. Au total, 56 mètres carrés pour toute la maison. Si on compose, on aboutit à 60 mètres carrés. Et dans cette maison minuscule, il y a une fenêtre de 11 mètres de long et la partie de réception offre une perspective de 14 mètres de long. Des cloisons amovibles, des lits dissimulés permettent d'improviser l'hospitalisation de visiteurs. So this was the program 100 years ago. And if we look back, what would be the program today of Petit Maison? So history has told us many things, and we believe that we need to learn from history. We know today that cities pollute a lot, that car mobility predominates, that the ground of public space is sealed, that the heat of fossil fuels, which we need, predominantly comes from gas. We demolish buildings when we need to change, and we waste and burn our resources. And all this contributes to the increase of carbon emission and accelerates climate change. So this is a very dark summary, actually, of building culture. It is culture. So how to change? So our house should look at the end like this. It is approximately 80 square meters big. We have 40 square meters, which is closed volume, and 40 square meters, which are covered. So we have approximately the same size as the one that Le Corbusier designed, which now is part of UNESCO Heritage. We don't intend to reach UNESCO Heritage. We actually would like to deconstruct the house, so it should go away. Okay. Usually, when we have the movies, we watch to the generic at the end. And this time, I really have to start with it. It's very important because this project really is based on a co-production. Currently, we work together with approximately 80 people, 35 organizations. So it's a nightmare. You can imagine to to kind of, coordinate all this, but it is absolutely necessary. We ask actually for volunteer contributions to both public institutions, research, institutions, but also private companies, offices, and so on. So at the university, I'm very proud to say that we manage actually an interdisciplinary cooperation between the engineers and the architects, but also we got help from our legal department, we got help from the procurement department, we got help from the research assistants and facilitators, and I really must say, without all this help, this project just wouldn't be possible. So it's really amazing that we managed to do so. And so we could go on, because all this energy crosses through the project. We have, for the moment, a whole bunch of companies, and the list isn't complete. And I would say even that we need even a little bit of more help. We almost, I would say, are complete, but there are some missing bits. Okay, but now I can go to next. Yes, so La Petite Maison is in front of Maison du Savoir, big house. So we are, just to see the proportions. Actually, our human body didn't change since 100 years, and even much, much, much longer, of course, if you look back to our history. Our needs, personal needs, actually didn't change so much. The proportions of spaces which we do need are approximately the same. But we need to approach things in a different way. We need to be aware that we shouldn't use more than we need. Okay, so in this case, our house is surrounded by a pépinière, so we would put in place, with great help of our partner Agora, 50 trees, which after this event should be displaced and replanted at a mile square. And so we are trying to, kind of include their design and kind of integrate it into our design on a provisional manner, and then after the 22 year, we should move it on their final destination. So this is a very beautiful approach on how we can actually help each other, on how we can also maybe not forget about the importance of plants and trees in our cities. Petit Maison is a curating and performance act of construction, operation, and deconstruction. So it's very important to understand that we do operate on these three acts, and it is based both on research and knowledge which has been gathered in the circle of experts under the lead of university, of course, but together with private and public partners on circularity. If I say circularity, you know, it's kind of a word which is used in the media quite a lot these days, and we always talk about circular economy. And I would rather actually talk about economy of materials which are circular. In this case, I just give you an example on one of the elements which we want to use. It has been developed by our colleague Yusuf Onbay together with his team at the Department of Engineering, and it's called reuse connections. So this is about connecting steel elements together in a very flexible way, so almost like a Lego, you know, so you can put, you know, kind of real size construction elements together and screw them, unscrew them, and screw them again. So this is the principle on how we want to build. So we use new resources, but also reused resources if possible. And all the elements that we use in this house should be dismantled at the end of 2022 and reused in a different way, in a different setting, in a different location. Here we see the house. This is the plan. So on the left side, this is the closed unit. It could be a housing unit. You know, remember Le Corbusier, flexible, you know, separation walls, hidden bed, and so on, you know. But on the other side, we have a covered space as well, which is connected to the outside. Very important. We believe that there is a huge potential, even in Luxembourg and its climate, to use our spaces outside in a much different way. We don't need necessarily always to climatize all our spaces. And what is very, very specific in this construction, we hardly use any finishings. So we kind of show how things come together, how things connect. We show how things articulate. It's very important to understand how things come together, also to question ourselves, where do things come from? This place should basically become, for 3 months, a place to host the public, my large public, but also, of course, the community of the university, and maybe experts and artists all together. And here we have the agenda in short. We have 3 acts, as said. So actually the first act is on construction on site and product management. It's site visits, and we also, of course, document the whole process. And all these will be open to public, very important. And then we have, in the late summer, an operation phase where we open the house for free visits, but also guided tours if they are requested. And we organize formal and informal events on circularity. And then in November, we start to deconstruct, dismantle this house, separate the pieces, and bring them in their new location. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. The next project is Sound of Data. Oliver Klassel, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, Professor Palache, for organizing this, this framework here, and thanks a lot to Esch2022 for organizing the whole year. I'm very happy to be here, very honored indeed, and I would like to talk about the Sound of Data, which is our project. What is the Sound of Data? The Sound of Data is a project centered around sonification. It is supposed to connect scientists and musicians and to create music from data. It aims at inspiring musicians and scientists to explore the technique of sonification for their work. And it shall raise awareness among the general public on topics like data in our daily lives, data in science, and of course data in music. So what is sonification? Sonification basically represents data as sound. It translates data characteristics into properties like volume, pitch, rhythm, and velocity. And you can also phrase it in a way that sonification is a visualization of data for the ears. Sonification is already around for centuries. So, for example, church bells is nothing, or like church bells indicating the hour of the day is nothing else but translating planetary data into sound. Many of you might also be familiar with the concept of the Geiger Counter. Sonification can reveal findings that would remain obscure with visualization only, and it is hence also a technique that is very handy for people who suffer from visual impairments. It is used to communicate scientific and statistical data also to the broader public, and it is also used to compose music, and this is where one of our focal points is located. During the Sound of Data, we will sonify a number of data sets that we have collected or that we are currently collecting. It will be traffic data, it will be historical data, it will be data from crowdsourcing art, it will be 3D body scan data, and we just also went into a collaboration with Static and obtained a data set on the epidemiological data collected in Luxembourg during the pandemic. We will use this data and provide or present it to musicians in the context of artist residencies, which will happen like throughout the summer. And these musicians and composers will write music based on these data sets under the guidance of a sonification artist and data scientist, Professor Valérie Vermeulen. And last not least, they will also perform their pieces of music on stage at the end of the year. Why are we doing this? Well, I mean, many of you know Belval as a place of research, a place where data is generated. And others may know this place rather as a place of music where you can listen to music, but also where you can perform and record music. But how often do these two worlds really get together and communicate, even though the common denominator is creativity for both professions? And the idea of the Sound of Data was to bring these two worlds together, to create permanent bridges and to be inspired by each other. And so hence the Sound of Data is the place where science meets music, or where music meets science. Who is working on this project? It's not the project of the university alone. It is a project of university and LIST, who are responsible for the data collection. We have, as I mentioned before, been able to get into contact and to contract Valérie Vermeulen, who is a professor in the field of data sciences and astrophysics, and he's also a composer. We're very happy to have Rock Lab and Rock Hall on board, who will provide premises, infrastructure, and expertise on producing music. And last not least, we have the FNR on board, who is responsible for like creating these bridges between scientists and musicians, and who will also take care of an appropriate science communication of the science behind our project to the broader public. When is it going to happen? We will have our kickoff or our opening event on the 1st of May in the Rock Hall with like numerous different activities for families, for tech geeks, for scientists and musicians. And we will have a grand finale on the 3rd of December in Rock Hall, where we will present the outcomes of the residencies. And in between, we will have numerous activities where you can also contribute actively with your data, if you wish so, where you can learn about sonification in hands-on workshops, and where you can also learn about sonification itself as a theoretical field. If you want to learn more about it, please connect to our webpage. This webpage is not 100% ready yet, but it's filled bit by bit with content, and you'll find already a number of informations, and you will find all of our events. Thanks a lot.
Next project is Remix Place. Estelle Evra, you have the floor.
Thank you very much. It's a great opportunity for us to present our work, and I really would like to thank the university for giving us researchers the opportunity to work on such innovative projects, and to thank Esch2022 to actually challenge us with such an opportunity to challenge us to really work on creatively with artists. So whether you are newcomers or originally from the region of Alsace-Belval, I bet everyone with us today has a special place which matters to them in this cross-border region. Here is the hill of the 1,000 cherry trees, blooming in the spring, offering a magnificent viewpoint. One of our interviewees used this image to describe an intimate place in the region, away from the busy Belval, a place to rest, to think and to connect with nature. Here is a personal memory of a now retired worker from the steel industry, having spent his childhood in the house on the right, in Villerue, in France, who explained this, the time he spent in this neighborhood. There were no cars, children were playing in the street, there was the smell of the polenta, and the industry was giving its rhythm to the whole life of the region. Remix Place provides a framework for understanding how residents perceive deep societal, economic, landscape transformations in this region, and how residents leave this cross-border area consisting of fluidity and disparities. Remix Place is interested in understanding how residents feel, perceive those transformations, whether they cope, adapt to them, or develop actions to change, to contest them. The way we live, perceive, and feel our environment is a driver for action, for engagement in the public space. Remix Place is interested in place attachment, the intimate bond we create or not with the places where we live. To explore place attachment, we have conducted an immersive fieldwork over summer and autumn last year, consisting of walking interviews. Sensitive walks inspired by geography of emotions. Cartographic workshops here in winter and in partnership with historians from Easter Esch, documenting which memories and emotions residents associate with the places in the city of Esch. With the data collected in 2021, which we are analyzing at the moment, we developed creative tools such as writing workshops, Crier Public, from May onwards, to engage with residents. Or also with students in the public space, for example, on Monday and Tuesday with, this week with students in the Master in Theaterwissenschaft. In the continuation of the activities developed with several communities, for instance, the Stephanesche SL residency of elderly people in Villerue, also another primary school in Villerue also, and students in the theater and Master in Theaterwissenschaft, we will expand our work in the public space with two main activities culminating in June and July. The first one will be this Itinerary Exhibition that will take place in form of an Agora Café. It's an open space for discussion, exchange, conviviality. The Agora Café will travel from Belval to Esch, Micheville, Villerue, and Audun-le-Tiche. We will use some of our results in form of podcasts, photographs, maps, to discuss with residents. This work will be presented during a final event in Villerue, to which I invite you on the 22nd of July. Our final event, which will result from the fieldwork we have done and all the other work I've presented to you, our final event will be a documentary theater play taking place on the 29th and 31st of July at the Maison des Arts et des Étudiants in Belval. The play, directed by Monika Dobrownska, will bring together professional and non-professional actors, community members with whom we are currently working. Of course, this project is a team endeavor. It is anchored at the Faculty of Humanities, Education and Social Science. It brings together the Department of Geography and Humanities in close collaboration, bringing researchers, administrative staff, and I would really like here to thank also the support of the whole university and our administrative staff with their work, with whom it wouldn't be able to have such a project. And 3 fantastic artistic artists who are very inspirational. Monika Dobrowolska, the artistic director, playwright, François Martic, sound artist, and David Chaliol, photographer. So keep posted by following our activities on Facebook and remixplace.com. And I'm very glad to answer to your questions together with my colleague here, Coco Nonoa. We'll be very glad to answer your questions later on. Thank you.
Last but not least, Stefan Krebs, you have the floor to present a pitch on remixing industrial past in the digital age.
Yeah, good afternoon. I'm not alone. I am here with a team member, Irene Portas, and we will keep this short. We know the Crémant is getting warm outside. Okay, remixing in industrial past in the digital age is, in a nutshell, a 4-year project. We are 8 researchers, 1 designer, a secretary. We investigate 7 different topics. We work on 2 exhibitions and 1 mobile game. We have 2 very important collaborators, the Milan-based artist collective Tokonomer and the architectural office 2F Architettura. And we received 1 award, namely the Outstanding Promotion of Science to the Public Award 2021 of the FNR. The core team encompasses Victoria Borecka, Maxime Derion, Julia Arnoncourt, Irene Portas, Daniel Richter, Lars Schönfelder, Werner Tschacher, Jens van der Maal, and myself, and most of them are sitting in the 5th row. Project supervisors are Valérie Schaffer, Karin Prim, Christophe Bröhl, Denis Couteau, and Andreas Fickers. And we co-opted Sandra Camarda, Laurence Montfort, François Klein, and Marco Gabellini from C2DH. Together, we investigate the history and collective identity of the Minet. We decided to not highlight the rather well-known story of the large industrial enterprises, the ingenious steel barons, and the Minet as the national bearer of progress and wealth, but to zoom in on the everyday life of the inhabitants, men and women, young and old, workers and shopkeepers, Luxembourgers and migrants. We look at rather marginalized historical topics such as the dramatic transformation of landscapes, industrial pollution, the role of women, the bad housing and living conditions of the working classes, and the impact of the border on migrant workers and, in particular, on Italian communists. Through this approach, we shed new light on the construction of the Minet identity. We investigate the names and images, representations and self-perceptions. And we show how the inhabitants, but also journalists and photographers, try to make sense of the 2 sides of the Minet, work and income on the one side, but also pollution and deprivation on the other. The collective identity of the inhabitants was not unified and monolithic, but fluid and diverse. This was the case during the industrial period from 1870 to 1970, but we also highlight that the contestation and public negotiation or renegotiation of the Minet identity gained new momentum with the 1970 steel crisis and the gradual closure of the mines and ironworks. The Multimedia Exhibition that is currently on display in the Mas Noir, and if you haven't seen it yet, hurry, because it's only free until Sunday, and the virtual exhibition that we will launch in May, both highlight that the shaping of collective identities is an ongoing process that has a historical dimension, but continues today and will continue to do so in the future. Before Irene will briefly present our main activities, I would like to take the occasion to thank the many people and institutions that have helped us in the past 2.5 years, and a special thanks to Esch2022 for funding and supporting our project. And I would like to emphasize the fantastic work that the Remix researchers have already accomplished. Congratulations to the team.
So, In the last 2.5 years, the Remix team has aimed at putting into practice a subdiscipline of historical research named public history. We engaged with the larger public to unearth stories that otherwise would fall into oblivion. In a way, and I believe I speak for my colleagues too, interpreting the past has progressively turned into a collective endeavor with the people of the region, and that has allowed us to discover certain less known facets of the Minette. Despite the obstacles, and that is to say COVID, and thanks to particularly Stefan's perseverance to accomplish each of the events initially conceived, we have worked together with many individuals and entities to make the following activities. So, the temporary history lab took place in the Brille Square in Esch from the end of September until the end of October 2020. Locals were invited to come and share their memories with us, bring their family albums, and participate in activities based on the intermingling between regional history and the digital methods such as the portrait event or the recording of sound postcards. When the lab was closed in the early evening, an interactive video installation automatically started. 6 semi-fictional and real historical characters would speak to the visitors about their lives, their dreams, and their concerns. And I would like to highlight the great job of the art collective Tokonoma accomplished in transposing our narratives to an audiovisual and interactive format. The Multimedia Exhibition Remixing Industrial Past has officially, as Stefan just said, been launched last Sunday in the Machina here in Belval. We have worked with Tokonoma again to tell alternative stories about the Minette from its industrialization up until present times, with spoken fragments based on historical sources accompanied by visual compositions. Show me how to show a video. I'm not very digital myself, so.
Does it work?
Yeah,
oh no, it does not work.
Well, you will need to go and see it directly.
Continue without the video.
So we have also developed an app called Minette Stories Rally for those coming to Belval to discover the past of this former industrial site in a playful manner. This app gives some hints on all the topics that will be touched upon in the Multimedia Exhibition. And I would like to thank particularly Sandra Camarda because of her guidance in building the app. And for those who will not be able to come to Belval, we will also launch a virtual exhibition called Minette Stories that collects the themes that we develop in the Multimedia Exhibition and provides a deeper analysis and a larger range of historical threads. It will contain multiple media to communicate history, like radio emissions, videos, graphic novels, and documentaries. For those who want to know more, there will be also a longer text version below. And all in all, we have worked to connect together the digital and the historical in different formats. However, all of these could not have been possible without the contribution of many people and institutions of the area, their knowledge, their technical savoir-faire, and their generosity. So thank you.
Thank you for the presentation, and now it's up to you to ask questions. Please raise your hand and we will give you the micro. And I also look on my phone because we got some online questions. And I don't see at the moment any question in the room. Okay.
Very important addition, and thanks, Françoise, for reminding me the entry to the Machina exhibition is free for students all the time, so please come and visit.
Important, yes, please come. I see a question.
So this is for the historians. You guys sound like you're directors, filmmakers, storytellers, and historians at the same time. So in your historical studies, did you start as historians and develop all of the rest because of the project, or were you interested in the multimedia aspects of the presentation from the beginning? Or did you get all that from teams around you that brought all those other elements into your historical work?
will start then. Thank you very much for this very interesting question. We are a bit, strange historians indeed here at the University of Luxembourg. We are, which is also normal if we consider where we are working. We come from, so we are working at the Center, Luxembourg Center for Contemporary and Digital History, and our main aim is to innovate the way we do history and disseminate history, not only to make it more available to the public, but also to involve the communities in this history-making process, also by experimenting with digital media, digital tools. So this is really what we are trying to put in practice here with this with the Remix team, and also with my project La Colonia Luxemburguesa. So yes, we remain historians, even though, for example, for myself, I am also wearing the hat of a film director, or story architect, digital storyteller, transmedia storyteller. I really strongly believe in creating new synergies between academia and the cultural institutions we have here in Luxembourg with with filmmaking. So the main objective of the center of the C2DH is really to create these synergies, to work together with artists, with filmmakers, and the publics to make history more compelling, more collaborative, and more engaging, and also more human. That's really our our main objective, and I think I can, by saying this, I'm speaking for the entire C2DH, and I hope that you will be part of this process, of this collective history-making process, and I'm very proud, that I am to be part of this. Thank you.
Just add two sentences Dominique already explained very well. I mean, in the first place, we're still historians, but one of the key missions of C2DH is, of course, to also take history beyond the academic walls. So we are confronted all the time with these kind of projects in all the different departments. But I think in case of the Remixing Industrial Past project, we have to emphasize that we collaborated with great artists and that we could not have achieved and done this without them. But it was also a kind of co-creation process. So we really had to work closely together. We had to kind of bring the narratives, the material, but also then kind of work in a very close cooperation with them to develop the idea for kind of the different elements of the exhibitions.
Anyone else would like to add? Okay, so I turn to you. Any further questions in the room? I read one question on the internet. It says, how did you get the idea about your projects? Was it born in the framework of Esch2022, or was it already there before? Who wants to answer? How did all this story got born? Yeah.
I could maybe answer for the Sound of Data. So this was an idea that I had like many years back, maybe 20 years back already, but it kind of got buried under all kinds of other projects. And then I was lucky to meet Jean-Paul Gartemus from FNR and colleagues from RockLab, and we were discussing, and then this idea was revived. And what we're doing now is very different from the idea that I had originally, but it was facilitated heavily in the framework of Esch2022 and developed.
In our case, as architects, we are always bastards, you know, because we do belong actually to, you know, different fields, and in particular to the field of culture. So it was very natural actually to propose a project. We really wanted to open up what we do here at the university in the Master of Architecture to the public. You know, it was extremely natural. We do cooperate very often with artists and with, you know, even musicians or movie makers, and this just seems for us a kind of a very normal way to get engaged with the larger public. Yes.
Please go to the micro.
I mean, I find it really quite phenomenal to see so much talent, so much creativity gathered here. And as Esch2022, our motto is remixing culture. And so our aim was also to bring people together from different disciplines and to act as an accelerator as well. And I think one can see with all these projects that this actually has worked. And I'm really happy, as I said, to see all these projects. I can't wait to see how they develop and to be part of them.
Yeah, that is true. It's really a remix here. Please go and answer into the micro.
Yes, I had already the opportunity to work with artists in previous projects, but what we have here is a very unique opportunity to do research and to effectively create something new with artists and to compare also our approaches to work. I mean, one of the initial ambition also for me was really to give something back to the region, because I've been working as a geographer in this region for more than 10 years now, working on cross-border issues, cross-border governance, talking to policymakers, decision makers, talking less to residents, to inhabitants. And I think it's actually also the role of the European Capital of Culture to go to those living in this region and to create something with them. And this was really the original intention that I had with this project, and I'm very glad that we could develop a partnership with the Department of Humanities in our faculty to expand something beyond what we usually do as geographers, and to explore new possibilities, to work together, but also to work with the communities.
I mean, we're historians, so just have to go back in time a little bit. CTDH has been very instrumental in bringing the title of European Capital of Culture to Esch in 2017. I presented in front of the jury that came to visit and to judge and evaluate. But even more important, our dear colleague Denis Couto was more than a mentor for the project of Esch 2022, but also in particular for our project. Yeah, without him, we would not be here.
Anyone else? Dominique?
Oh, thank you. Thank you, everyone. As I said during my presentation, this project didn't start because of Esch2022, but really because of my discovery of this tropical remix of Luxembourg, and from the start in Brazil. And from the beginning, when I arrived here in Luxembourg at the C2DH, I had this idea, this maybe crazy idea for a historian, to make a documentary film, because I knew that I would like to work with oral history testimonies, and also to really show how impressive this region is. When we came back now with the Luxembourg delegation, we were there with the Luxembourg delegation in Brazil last week. We visited this industrial heritage and the city of Jean-Montlévage, and it really is astonishing to see this minette in the tropical jungle. So really this visual aspect was very important. And then organically with this, with the collaboration with the CNA, because of all these archive films and photos and the shared histories, we teamed up with Zamza Film, and this is how the digital component grew. And when I heard of Esch2022, of this amazing opportunity, also for me as a person, as a Minette stop, or as a resident of the Minette, I really embraced this opportunity. We embraced it to also expand this dialogue into the physical platforms, and I'm very, very happy.
Thank you, thank you. I don't see any questions, and it is my pleasure to invite you in the name of the rector, Stefan Palasch, to a reception in front of the room. And this gives you the opportunity to further exchange with all the people working on the projects. I thank you for the presentations. I thank you for your participation. Please stay on the reception and please remix. Thank you.